where I share most of my experience for the past few years, having interview few people for the company. So yes, it will be my pleasure here today. Okay, Emma, do you want me to start now?
That would be great, Sekar. Do you have any slides you would like to share with our audience?
Okay.
That's great. And just while we're getting you up and running, Sekar, just for our audience today, if you do have any questions, please do place them in the chat, and we'll have some time with Sekar at the end of this session to answer your questions. So once again, thanks for joining us, and looking forward to today's presentation. Take it away, Sekar.
Okay. Okay, so before we move to the tips today, I think I would like to just share with you a few facts. Okay, here, as you know, population is increasing. In another 20 years, there will be probably an additional 1.5 billion people in the world. And then as competitiveness increases, boundaries relax, mobility of workers, and life is as faster than your parents' time. Broadband is everywhere. Everything is digitized. And your smartphone, I think it's starting now already, is one of the most important possessions. And as you also will realize that you will only spend 1/3 of life asleep, and the rest is probably working. Even spending almost 1/3 of your adult life working, including getting ready and commuting to work with all the traffic and everything. Okay, so moving to the next slide. With all the competition in the globally, not only nationally but also globally, the skill set and requirements for you to be successful are now wider. So you will be required to have these few skill set, not only based on your education and your past experience, but also multicultural experience, adaptability, commitment, language abilities is a must, competence, globally minded, knowledgeable character, confidence, hands-on, courage, and even will be a plus point if you have overseas work experience. So just want to share with you what it's like out there right now. Okay, so as I understand also that you've been submitting your resume to few companies and you're now waiting for the interview process. So now just to prepare you for the session for the interview itself, I would like to share with you just a few tips. So yep, okay. So I will divide this deck into preparation and the D-Day itself. Okay, so how to make yourself ready for an interview. Okay, so let me just share with you here. Okay, firstly, you will need to analyze the job. You know what the job that you're aiming for. So an important part of it is to take the time to analyze the job posting, job description, if you have it, and also analyze what the company is really seeking for in a candidate. So if you can make just a rough list of what are the skills, knowledge, professional and personal qualities that they're looking for, and which are critical for success in the job. Okay, so you need to understand the job, the requirement, and list down the list that they're looking for. Okay, so secondly, make a match. When you have created a list of qualification for the job, make a list of your assets, try to match them to the job requirement. First, say, create a list of up to probably 10 assets, including skill, including certification, including any experience, professional qualification, abilities, even computer skill, ready to share with the interviewer. So you need to list down what are the things that you consider as your asset. Be sure your asset correlate directly with the skills and abilities required by the company. Okay, so just list down few things which you think can be relate directly to the job requirement. Okay, and then next one, research for the company. Okay, this is really important because you cannot attend an interview session without knowing what is the company. Okay, so you need to do your homework way before the interview. So you need to find out as much as you can about the company. So it will help you prepare to both answering in the interview questions and also to ask back the interviewer. Okay, so you will also be able to find out whether the company and the company culture are a good fit for you. Okay, so take some time in advance to discover as much information as you can about the company. Spend time tapping into your network, your friends, perhaps to see who you know who can help giving you an interview edge over the other candidates. So you can actually go through the company website. That's the first. You can use LinkedIn. You can use any social media, Facebook, Google, Twitter, to just get the company updates. And then you can even tap to your connection. If you have some friends or colleagues or relative family who works there, then you can definitely tap to them to see what are the culture looks like, what are the company selling, things like that. So that will be the basic information that you need to know about the company. So you didn't come there blank. It's really a disaster. Okay, next one is practice interviewing. Okay, for sometimes for new interns or really a fresh graduate, you need to take some time to practice answering the interview question, which you will probably be asked during the job interview. Okay, so you can practice with a friend, family member ahead of time. It will be much easier when you're actually it will help you to be much easier when you're actually in a job interview. Okay, even if you don't have an interview schedule yet, but you're job searching already, it's a good idea to practice interviewing. The more you practice, the better your interview skills will be, and the better prepared you'll be when it comes to the real job interview. Okay, along the way, when you have several interviews already, you get used to the question and you get more comfortable in having your own answer. So practice is really important. Okay, so next one is get the details. Okay, this is important. You don't want to wake up in one morning during the interview day and you have no clue where to go to. Okay, so you need to get the details, the direction, building floor, etc., and the names that you will be meeting there, the interviewer, and also the job title. That will be important. Okay, so if you have the time, it's a good idea to do a practice run a day or two before the interview, so you know where you're going and how long will it take you to get there. So just give yourself a few extra minutes and arrive a little early during the interview. Okay, next one, dress for success. Okay, this is also important because as you come to an interview, you need to dress appropriately. Okay, so make sure you have appropriate interview attire and everything fits correctly. Okay, so it looks nice on you. Okay, because the first impression you make on a potential employer is the most important one. The first judgment an interview makes is going to be based on how you look and what you are wearing. So that's why in many cases, it is still important to dress professionally for a job interview, regardless of the work environment. Okay, I'll be sharing with you later on few do's and don'ts, a few tips on how you can actually dress appropriately. Okay, so don't wait until the last minute to make sure your interview clothes are ready. Have an interview outfit ready to wear at all times so you don't have to think about what you're going to wear while you're scrambling to get ready for the job interview. Okay, so when the workplace or the job is less formal, the dress code may be less formal as well, but uh, a rule of thumb is just stay formal if you don't know what the company looks like, what the employees there usually wear. So just put on a formal attire. Okay, so okay, this is just another tips. Okay, polish your shoes, bring a breath mint and use it before you enter the building. Okay, don't overdo, don't ever overdo. General rules: limited jewelry, no dangling earrings or arms full of bracelet for the ladies. Professional hairstyle, just neat, neutral pantyhose for ladies, and also dark socks for the gentleman, and conservative leather shoes, light makeup and perfume, no over perfume. Don't wear perfume too much. Neatly manicured, clean nails. Bring a portfolio or briefcase. Okay, so this is why I would probably say black never go wrong. Usually it will be the most safest color that you can wear during an interview. It never go wrong. Okay, so you can choose solid color over pattern. Choose neutral color over bright. So black never go wrong. Okay. So okay, so now it's D-Day. It's showtime already. Okay, before I move to the D-Day, I'll pause here to see if there's any questions. If there's any question from the audience, or probably Emma, if you can help if there's any questions in the panel.
Sure. Audrey, have you got any direct questions that you can see?
No, not yet.
No, all good. Thank you very much.
Okay. Okay, so now we're moving to the D-Day. Okay. Okay, firstly, be on time. As I shared with you earlier, be sure to do your homework. One of them is ensure you know where you're going, direction and details, so that you can arrive on time. And then firstly, thank the interviewer for taking the time to meet you both at the beginning of the interview and again repeat it at the end. Okay, so dress appropriately. We have discussed it previously. If you arrive dressed too casually or too formally, the situation can be uncomfortable for both for you and the person interviewing you. So just dress appropriately, not too much. Okay, introduce yourself. Okay, when you came to an office, you need to introduce yourself to the receptionist and ask for the person that you'll be meeting. And then shake hands with everyone in the room. If there are more than one interviewer that will interview you, so just shake hand with everyone using a firm but not too forceful. Just make a strong eye contact. Okay, sit when you are asked to sit, not before. Place your loose items. Sorry, I think okay. Sit when you are asked to sit, not before. Place your loose items on the floor next to your seat or in your lap or on the side table, coffee table, or in front of you at the conference table if there is any. But do not put them on the interviewer's desk unless it is offered to you. Okay, so your briefcase, your bag should be kept at your feet, not on a chair or table. Okay, do not ask for refreshment or permission to smoke. Okay, keep all your mobile and other electronic devices turned completely off because it will distract you during the interview. Keep a positive and friendly attitude. So, okay, so in general, actually, no matter where you have the interview session, it can be in a building, I mean in the interviewer's room, or you can have it outside. I think most of the time right now, people tend to meet outside, probably in a cafe, a coffee shop, things like that, just to have a more comfortable interview, a more informal interview. But regardless of the venue, you still need to follow these general rules of thumb. It doesn't mean that you can probably just uh, smoke in front of the interviewer just because you're having an informal discussion. So these general rules of thumbs is something that you need to pay attention to. Okay, the most important thing is listen and ask questions. Okay, so by listening to all the information that the interviewer is sharing, then you will be able to give a good response. Okay, so also be ready to engage the interviewer. You want there to be a give and take type of conversation. So you're basically building a relationship with the interviewer rather than just giving responses to questions. Okay, so toward the end of the interview, let the recruiter know that you believe the job is an excellent fit and that you are highly interested. And of course, after a few questions, it will come also your turn to ask question to the interviewer or to the recruiter. So as the interview comes to a close, one of the final question you may be asked is, what can I answer for you? Probably your interviewer will expect you to have some questions, some inquiries, and failing to ask any question at this moment sometimes could make you seem unprepared or unengaged. Okay, so it will be good for you to prepare for some questions before you come to an interview room. Okay, so just be prepared for that. Plan ahead, have few interview questions on your own to ask. I mean, you aren't simply trying to get this job. You are also interviewing the employer to assess whether this company and the position are a good fit for you. So asking question is actually a good way to dig into the company culture and the specific day-to-day responsibility of the position, so that it won't come to you as a big surprise during your first week if you get accepted to the company. Okay, so next one, what to bring to an interview. Okay, this you need to bring the direction, you need to bring your ID, notepad, pen, names of contact, list of questions to ask. This is what I just shared earlier. Extra copies of your resume. I mean, you probably have emailed your resume before sharing the resume to the recruiter before, but it always be good to bring extra copy, because sometimes the interviewer is actually, probably a busy manager, a very busy director who doesn't have time to read email from the recruiter on your resume. So it will be good to provide them one. So it's always good to bring extra copy. Reference list, if you have reference list, if for a fresh graduate, it's probably reference list from your teacher, okay, and or dean. So it will be good. But if you have previous experience, it will be good to get reference from your previous employer. And also some of the work samples. Okay, work samples is probably not necessarily you need to present to the interviewer, but it is something that you can refer to when they ask question. Most of the question now, I'll be sharing with you one of the tips, or one of the technique is now called behavioral event interview. So the interviewer is basically not going to ask you simple question. So they'll be asking you question more related to the skill, more relevant to the competency that they're looking for in that particular role. They will be asking for your past experience that really relates to the role that you're applying for. So they will connect the question to that. not simply just family related, school related. So I think in the past it's probably like that, but now they're moving toward a more constructive interview questions where they'll be guiding you through a certain question, so they can see whether you're a good fit or you have the capabilities need for the job. Okay, so you can refer to your work sample if you have. What not to bring to a job interview? Gum or candy? You can bring this in your bag, but definitely not chewing the gum during the interview. Coffee, soda, water, phone. Please turn off your phone. It's really distracting. A hat or a cap. Too many rings, as I said earlier. Don't overdo yourself. Don't put a lot of jewelry. Cover any kind of tattoos. Please don't bring your parents, friends, or anyone else during the interview. Okay, I do understand that some fresh graduates tend to bring their parents during their first interview. Yeah, but I mean, seriously, please, probably you can request your parents to probably wait at the lobby, at the coffee shop nearby. Just don't bring them into the office. I mean, it you need to show your professional stand, and this thing will not do you good. So yep, so just take note of this. Okay. So next one, this is probably just a few questions to ask the employer. Okay, so I'll give you time to read through. There are a few things that you can ask the employer or the interviewer. Okay, for example, if it's a sales organization, one of the things that you can ask is probably how much travel is expected. What is the typical work week? Is overtime expected? And then the most important thing when you work for the company, don't only think that you'll be contributing to the company only. What you need to consider also is your own personal development. So you need to seek for information whether this company is really giving opportunity for employee to grow. I'm sure you all have your own career aspiration. You have your own personal development plan. So with this, you need to ask questions to the employer to seek information whether this company is really giving you that opportunity. Okay, so it's a two-way kind of situation, not only just you giving, but you need to have something in return. Okay, so okay, so who does this position report to? If I am offered the position, can I meet him or her? And then probably it will be good to describe the responsibility of the position. I think this is fair enough because while you have done your homework, doing all the research about the company, you probably have no clue or probably just a little information on how's the responsibility of the role look like. So I think this is a very fair question that you need to ask to the employer or to the recruiter. Okay, but also there will be question that you should be avoiding since it's probably won't be present you in a positive light. Okay, if you ask what does this company do, hey, you need to do your homework. You can ask few questions, but in a more probably in a deeper way. If you only ask what does this company do, didn't you do your research ahead of time? So you really need to do this, dig this information online first probably, or tap into your connection before going to the interview. But you can still ask questions with regards to the company, but definitely not what it's doing. Okay, next one, if I get the job, when can I take time off for vacation? Hey, you haven't even started working and you want the time off already. So I mean, a few questions need to be avoided during the interview. You can ask questions later when you already got the offer. Then you can ask as many questions as you want to the HR. Okay, can I change my schedule if I got the job? Okay, you don't even know your schedule yet, and still you already try to find excuses to change your schedule. Oh, this is not a good example. Okay, did I get the job? Okay, usually most of the time after the interview, recruiter or a hiring manager will need to take some time to write down a report, or probably sharing the feedback to the recruiter to let them know how's the interview went so far. So, and most of the time they're not only doing interview, they're very busy hiring manager. So just give them few days. In Cisco, sometimes it can take longer. Probably in my experience, in my own experience prior to joining Cisco, it took me around 2 weeks, 10 days to 2 weeks before I heard another, before I have another call from Cisco to have another interview. So just please be patient. Eventually, when they need to hire badly, they need the support badly, they will reach out to the candidate as soon as possible. They have their own timeline, so just be patient for that. Okay. This is the question that I really don't like coming from the candidate. How much will I get in terms of compensation? Okay, so this will eventually come out during your final discussion with HR. But when you get an interview, especially during the first interview, this is a big no-no. Okay, how come you haven't even had a clue on what the responsibility looks like, what the working time looks like, and you already ask question about compensation? So I think you really need to avoid this. Eventually it will come around. Usually during the first interview, recruiter will only ask how much are you making now, and how much is your expectation. That will be the most question that they will ask during the first interview. And then after several rounds of interview with different people, usually during the final interview with HR, then the question will pop up again. They will ask you in terms of the detailed compensation that you have now, if you already have past experience, or they'll be offering you something and providing the details. That's when you can ask a lot of questions in terms of compensation and benefit, not at the first interview. Okay, so this is a common non-verbal mistake made during job interviews. So 67% of people fail to make eye contact. That's why making eye contact, especially when you introduce yourself, is also very important. Okay, 47% people have little knowledge of the company. Just make your basic research. At least when they know, sometimes they tend to challenge candidate. Okay, so what do you know about the company? If you say you don't know anything, you don't even have a clue on what it's doing, what it's producing, what it's selling, so it's a disaster. Okay, so 38% of the candidate don't smile. First impression is always important, even though I know you'll be nervous, especially during the first interview, but you just need to put on a smile and put on your confidence. Okay, your body language eventually will show all the nervousness. So it will be better if you can put on a little confidence during the interview. Okay. Okay, so statistics shows that first impression are determined by 55% is by the way you dress, act, and walk through the door. So that's why, like I mentioned earlier, you need to dress for success. You need to pick your attire appropriately, and make sure you do it in advance to prepare. 38% would be depending on the quality of your voice, grammar, and confidence. My tips is, if you don't have, probably you're not confident in your English or other kind of language, just use your mother tongue. So you can always use your mother tongue, whether it's bahasa, whether it's English. So just use your mother tongue. You will be more confident, and it will be easier for us to understand what are you trying, what you're trying to tell us. Sometimes your work experience is so impressive, but because you cannot deliver the message in the right way, sometimes we don't understand. We don't even have a clue what you're talking about. So it's better to just use the language that you most confident. Okay. Okay. So few things to note. Just take into consideration if you have any relevant job experience. Just be sure that you share that. I'm sure if you have a previous job experience, you'll be sharing already in your resume. But take into consideration if they ask you about your other job experience, make sure you share any relevant job experience, because it will be part of our consideration as well, of probably how experienced you are in that particular field, or in terms of competency. Sometimes we feel that we have never, probably we have never had experience doing sales. So don't worry. I mean, you can share probably, or probably for fresh graduate, you don't have the experience to on working before. You can always share your experience based on your activities in school, your extracurricular. So it will help you if you have organization experience in your school, on how you're dealing, dealing with team, on how you're making decision within the group. It will help because your competency will show there when you share those stories, when you share those experience. It will show those competency that they need, whether it's whether you have it, whether you're the right fit for the role. Okay, be patient. Don't expect to be able to get a permanent job within a short time frame. Sometimes the job that we probably face, or we're probably being offered, is is not a permanent job. But don't worry. I mean, it will come around. The permanent job eventually will come. So just take the current opportunity, especially when you're new hire. You need to have a lot of experience. So even a non-permanent job will give you the exposure. Okay, so be willing to try out short stints in organization doing temporary or contract jobs. You can gain valuable experience, and if you have proven yourself, maybe you will be offered a permanent position. So don't worry. I mean, if you're only looking for a permanent job, especially when we're very new, we're fresh graduate, sometimes it's hard because the company cannot benchmark you against other more experienced people, right? So you need to prove yourself, and sometimes by having small role, by having a non-permanent role, you can still showcase yourself. Okay, be positive, optimistic, and be confident. And being a winner, you need commitment, enthusiasm, ambition, and determination to make things happen. So I think that's the most important thing while you're preparing for interview, while you have the experience probably on that field, but you will still need to have that enthusiasm, ambition. Okay. So this is just a backup slide I will share with you. This is actually a few typical questions that will be being asked by the recruiter or by hiring manager. Okay, so for example, these are, do you work well with other people? Okay, so what do you think they're trying to seek from this information? So basically they're trying to seek whether you can you have a good teamwork, you can work within the group, how you deal with other people with different characters, things like that. So meaning to say, sometimes in the company, not sometimes, I mean most of the time in the company, we are faced with different people with different personality. So what they're trying to look is for someone who easily adapt to, you know, to this kind of situation, to this kind of culture. Okay, so sometimes they will ask question like, okay, this is the most probably the most frequent question. What is your greatest strength? That will be the most frequent question being asked by a recruiter. Okay, so just a few tips. Please make sure whatever your strength or whatever weaknesses you have is not contradictory with the role that you're aiming for. Okay, if you're applying for the position of accountant, for example, and you have you have weaknesses in details, you don't like details, or probably you're not a really detailed person, then definitely you will fail, right? Automatically, I mean, you're applying for an accountant position. This is a role where you need all the details. You need to be accurate, but you're not into details. So how come? So it's really contradictory. Okay, so please make sure whatever answer you have on weakness and strength is not contradictory. So that's why you need to list down your asset, your skill set, to make sure that it's aligned with whatever job requirement that has been shared with you before. Okay. Okay, I think that will be all from me. I can take questions if there's any questions.
Thanks, Sekar. Great session. Thanks for sharing your interview tips. There was some really valuable information on how to dress, act and present ourselves in an interview. And being a country manager of HR for Cisco, there is no better person equipped to providing the do's and don'ts of interviews and how to get ahead of the competition. So thank you for such a great presentation today. We will take questions. So Audrey, I'm going to hand it over to you now to take the questions for this session.
Yes. Okay.
I saw terima kasih Mbak Sekar.
Ya,
ya ini mereka bertanya dalam bahasa Indonesia, jadi saya sampaikan. Kalau ditanya sebelumnya pernah kerja di kantor mana, terus ditanya alasan keluar kenapa dan kenapa mau ke tempat kerja yang baru, itu jawaban yang aman seperti apa, Mbak?
Yap, oke. So biasanya kalau ada pertanyaan, oke, kenapa sih pindah dari kantor lama gitu ya? It's never wrong untuk bilang bahwa I have a good I have a better opportunity. Nggak apa-apa gitu, maksudnya it's not something that we're avoiding. Kalau kita memang dapat opportunity lebih baik, dan say it gitu, kita dapat opportunity yang lebih baik, tapi make sure bahwa this is not only in terms of compensation. Kenapa? Karena begitu bilang bahwa oh kita dapat offeringnya lebih tinggi, oke, dan next kalau kamu udah diterima di perusahaan ini dan kamu dapat offer yang lebih tinggi, then how gitu kan? So it will be the next question. So make sure you avoid having the answer only based on compensation. Make sure misalnya gini pertanyaannya, ya Anda bisa bilang, oke, saya keluar karena dapat better opportunity, apanya gitu. Oke, mungkin better opportunity-nya, role-nya, responsibility-nya lebih besar, scope pekerjaannya lebih besar, atau mungkin dari segi level is a promotion gitu kan. Dari tadinya staff misalnya terus jadi supervisor misalnya gitu ya. It's an opportunity yang mungkin company sekarang nggak bisa offer gitu. Jadi make sure bahwa you have the answer not based on compensation only. gitu ya. Itu akan jadi akan di challenge juga oleh recruiter pasti.
Oke, baik, cukup jelas. Berikutnya adalah kalau dilihat dari sisi interview atau dari sisi HRD, mereka lebih lihat dari soft skill atau dari technical skill-nya, Mbak?
Oke, kalau di Cisco khususnya, dan I think most company sekarang sudah mulai mengarah ke situ, makanya kenapa beberapa company lebih banyak modelnya sekarang referral. Ya, jadi kita lebih banyak manajer lebih banyak mengajukan kandidat gitu ya, walaupun HR juga mengajukan kandidat, tapi biasanya hiring manager punya kandidat-kandidat tertentu. Kenapa? Karena biasanya dia sudah tahu skill setnya. Yang pertama akan dilihat oleh hiring manager adalah technical skill, itu udah pasti important gitu ya. HR pasti, atau mungkin most of the time mereka nggak punya pengetahuan terkait technical skill terlalu dalam gitu. Makanya kenapa pada saat interview biasanya first interviewer probably recruiter hanya untuk melihat apakah dia kayaknya nih, punya kemampuan ini, punya experience ini, this is fine gitu. Selanjutnya akan dilanjutkan oleh hiring manager. Nah, user ini yang akan menentukan apakah skill setnya pas. Karena itu yang paling penting dari satu pekerjaan gitu. Skill setnya pas. Kalau dia soft skillnya bagus tapi nggak punya technical skill sama sekali, dan kalau untuk apply untuk engineer position nggak bisa juga gitu kan ya. Jadi user akan lihat ke situ. Baru setelah itu HR akan interview lagi untuk explore soft skill. Terutama bukan cuma soft skill, tapi terutama yang berkaitan dengan culture company itu sendiri gitu ya. Culture-nya Cisco dan lain sebagainya kalau dari sisi saya gitu. Tapi biasanya begitu sudah lewat dari hiring manager, dan itu udah saya anggap bahwa technical skill oke. Gitu. Jadi dua-duanya penting, tapi kalau mau dilihat dari segi role yang di-apply apa gitu. Kalau dia lebih banyak akan menggunakan technical skill, dan technical skill is a must. Gitu. Tapi kalau misalnya dia sales gitu ya, sales kan dia nggak perlu ada penguasaan technical skill terlalu dalam gitu ya. Pasti dia akan lebih banyak skill soft skillnya, negotiation skill, interpersonal skill, communication skill, lebih kayak gitu kan. Nah itu dari sisi HR dan hiring manager biasanya itu akan saling ngisi, itu akan complementary hasil feedback yang kita dapatkan biasanya gitu.
Oke. Lalu kalau pertanyaan berikutnya, saya dari universitas yang sama, punya IP yang hampir sama, punya keahlian yang bisa dikatakan hampir sama, tapi posisinya cuma satu gitu. Itu apa yang dilihat nantinya, Mbak?
Balik lagi, kalau kita udah ngomongin technical skill sudah sama, selanjutnya pasti proses filteringnya mana yang lebih fit untuk culture company tersebut, mana yang lebih fit untuk role tersebut gitu ya. Jadi biasanya most of the time kita akan lihat apakah soft skillnya memadai, apakah dia fit dengan culture-nya Cisco. Karena balik lagi, setiap orang dia punya personality yang beda-beda, dan itu nggak bisa dipaksa juga gitu. Sementara company juga punya culture yang kita bangun sama-sama gitu, sehingga mana yang lebih bisa adapt dengan culture ini, itu sih.
Betul nggak sih, Mbak, kalau HRD itu bisa lihat orang sifatnya gimana, sehari-harinya gimana, fit ke culture company gimana, hanya dengan tatap muka sebentar gitu tuh?
Kalau saya bilang itu lebih ke jam terbang sebenarnya. Bisa dulu saya punya manajer itu, saya pada saat interview sama dia bahkan nggak ngobrolin kerjaan. Dia cuman ketemu cuman sekian menit gitu ya. Dia cuma mau lihat chemistry-nya kadang-kadang kalau kayak gitu. Karena otomatis dari resume kadang-kadang udah kelihatan, oke, ini technical skill-nya udah ini, apalagi udah certified ini, sudah nggak diragukan lagi gitu ya dari segi technical skill. Tapi dia perlu tahu chemistry-nya. Kenapa? Karena kan mereka akan kerja bareng banyak. Dengan ketemu orangnya langsung dia akan bisa lihat, oke, gue bisa nih kerja sama orang ini gitu. Jadi lebih ke arah situ biasanya, lebih ke jam terbang. Makin lama, makin sering dia interview orang, makin gampang untuk identify orang ini fit apa enggak sih gitu ya. Orang ini fit apa enggak dengan culture company, orang ini cocok nggak sih kerja dengan manajer ini terutama. Makanya kenapa pada saat saya interview orang biasanya saya akan cari tahu kalau dia punya manajer, tipikal manajer yang dia mau kayak apa sih? Atau tipikal environment yang dia suka tuh kerja kayak apa? Kadang-kadang ada orang yang jawab, oh ya saya lebih senang sendiri, saya lebih senang mikir sendiri, ini segini. Sementara pekerjaan yang dibutuhkan adalah pekerjaan teamwork. Nah kayak gitu-gitu kan kita bisa lihat ya mas. Maksudnya oke, kalau Anda nggak bisa kerja secara tim atau nggak nyaman kerja secara tim, well, kita mesti lihat lagi nih gitu, jangan-jangan nggak fit juga dengan posisi ini gitu ya, atau dia bilang oke, saya cocok dengan manajer yang mesti ngarahin nih, apa-apa mesti dikasih tahu, pokoknya mesti kasih tahu saya tuh mesti detail, abis ini cara ngerjainnya seperti itu gitu ya, harus exactly seperti itu. Sementara manajernya nggak tipe yang kayak gitu, manajernya cuek gitu, dan definitely mereka nggak akan bisa kerja bareng kayak gitu-gitu. Jadi biasanya saya explore dari beberapa perspektif sih.
Oke. Tentu kalau kita mewawancarai peserta yang gugup itu kan mungkin nggak akan keluar potensinya dia. Ini ada yang tanya gimana caranya mengatasi, tips-tips mengatasi gugup ini gitu Mbak.
Oke. Di awal tadi saya bilang juga yang pertama adalah sebenarnya yang bikin kandidat itu bisa pede adalah dia tahu tentang company-nya gitu ya. Dia tahu tentang company-nya. Yang kedua, dia sudah pernah melakukan latihan interview lah, practice interview. Makanya saya bilang practice aja gitu. Biasanya sekarang rata-rata hiring manager gitu ya, atau recruiter kita bikin kondisinya se-relax mungkin gitu ya, pada saat kita even greeting kandidat gitu ya, biasanya kita bikin as relax as possible. Gimana, susah nggak kesini itu kayak gitu. Jadi kita coba basa-basi di awal supaya mencairkan suasana juga gitu. Kita tahu pada saat orang pertama kali datang ke office, walaupun dia bukan fresh graduate gitu, tetap ada nervous yang mereka rasakan gitu ya. Jadi kita coba cairkan suasana dulu gitu ya. Kadang-kadang kita juga nggak langsung menanyakan poin-poin interview. Biasanya kita nanya lebih ke oh rumahnya di mana, kena macet di mana pak, gini-gini. Oh biasanya agak lama tuh, biasanya bisa 5 menit sendiri untuk spending waktu di situ gitu ya. Jadi tapi it will be good untuk biasanya yang bikin telat juga adalah, yang bikin gugup juga adalah datangnya telat. Kalau udah datangnya telat berantakan tuh biasanya, udah pusing sendiri, udah nggak konsentrasi gitu. Makanya kenapa make sure you arrive on time, kalau bisa even 15 menit sebelumnya. Akan lebih tenang pada saat udah duduk di situ, oke, walaupun masih harus nunggu, tapi it's fine gitu. Paling nggak kita sudah sampai di situ, nggak keburu-buru di jalan, wah udah pikirannya udah macem-macem kalau udah telat gitu. Tapi most important thing, just do your homework gitu. Jadi paling nggak udah tahu, oh oke, company-nya seperti ini segala macam. Jadi pada saat kita harus nanya, kita juga udah prepare.
Oke, ini ada yang sangat ingin tahu. Pernah nggak Mbak Sekar ditanya sesuatu sama yang wawancara terus menyesal setelah keluar gitu Mbak?
Yap. Jadi gini, biasanya itu keluar begitu ngomongin weaknesses biasanya. Dulu waktu awal-awal saya interview, saya diinterview gitu ya. Salah satu yang salah satu hal yang saya selalu bilang pada saat ditanya weaknessesnya apa, saya akan bilang bahwa I cannot say no gitu. Susah banget untuk ngomong enggak gitu ya ke orang gitu. Jadi saya susah sendiri pada akhirnya, harus ngerjain semua karena orang minta ini saya kerjain ini gitu. I just cannot say no gitu. It's my weaknesses gitu. Tapi kan it's not helping gitu untuk pekerjaan saya. Sometimes saya mesti push back juga gitu kan. Jadi pada saat saya cuma jawab sebatas itu, dan definitely abis itu saya berpikir, waduh kenapa ya saya jawab gitu ya, kok cuman gitu aja gitu, nggak ada apa-apanya. Jadi biasanya saya ngakalinnya adalah begitu saya ngomong misalnya, wah saya nggak teliti nih orangnya, atau saya pelupa misalnya. Salah satu weakness saya orangnya pelupa. Oh oke gitu, kalau cuma pelupa doang atau saya nggak terlalu detail orangnya, oke, dan itu benar-benar weaknesses gitu. Tapi saya akan bilang bahwa oke, tapi karena saya tahu saya punya kelemahan itu, jadi saya biasanya take note. Apapun yang ada di pikiran saya atau apapun yang ada di meeting, biasanya saya take note. Apapun yang manajer saya bilang, biasanya saya take note gitu. Saya bikin poin-poin sendiri gitu di catatan saya supaya saya nggak lupa gitu. Jadi ada hal-hal yang itu mungkin weaknesses gitu, tapi bukan berarti kita nggak melakukan sesuatu gitu. Biasanya sih terkait ke situ.
Oke Mbak. Oke, berikutnya adalah perlu nggak sih kita update LinkedIn gitu? Itu apakah perusahaan akan mencari dari sana ataukah harus seseorang yang apply ke perusahaan tersebut itu, Mbak?
Oke. Kalau menurut saya LinkedIn sangat membantu. Karena sekarang orang itu atau recruiter itu lebih banyak, even headhunter ya. Headhunter itu akan approach orang pertama kali dia akan lihat di LinkedIn. Gitu ya. Jadi itu menurut saya adalah social media yang paling powerful sekarang. Gitu ya, LinkedIn, karena kita mungkin teman-teman pernah dengar ada JobsDB, ada JobsReid, ada segala macam gitu ya, dimana semua vacancy kadang-kadang dimasukin ke situ oleh company gitu ya. Tapi pengalaman saya kalau yang saya dapat dari JobsDB atau JobsReid, quality-nya beda gitu ya. Saya pernah sourcing untuk satu posisi atau beberapa posisi itu lewat JobsReid gitu ya. Saya posting, terus saya terima vacancy-nya. Kebanyakan nggak masuk shortlist saya juga gitu. Kadang-kadang karena mereka kadang-kadang benar-benar cuma ngirim just for the sake of having a job gitu. Bahkan mereka nggak lakukan PR sebelumnya, apakah ini benar-benar role-nya sesuai sama saya, sesuai sama pengalaman misalnya, atau sesuai sama pendidikan saya gitu. Jadi kadang-kadang banyakan yang nggak kita pakai juga, boro-boro di shortlist gitu. Masuk filtering aja enggak gitu. Nah, biasanya company akan cenderung untuk pakai LinkedIn. Bukan cuman karena it's free gitu ya, tapi lebih powerful karena di LinkedIn bisa benar-benar kita source lebih mudah gitu ya. Untuk posisi accountant misalnya, atau untuk posisi HR gitu misalnya. Terus udah gitu untuk posisi HR misalnya, begitu di shortlist HR, nah itu akan keluar tuh semua orang yang punya experience HR gitu. Jadi buat recruiter itu lebih mudah, dan buat kandidat pun itu akan lebih bisa menggambarkan poin-poin apa sih sebenarnya role yang sekarang seperti apa, responsibility-nya apa gitu ya. Itu akan lebih mudah kelihatan gitu. Dan kalau memang dia benar-benar interested, mereka akan kontak personally biasanya gitu ya. Mereka akan japri lah biasanya gitu. Jadi itu lebih kepake daripada kita nerima segala macam CV gitu ya. Most of the time saya nggak akan baca sih biasanya. Kalau saya mungkin karena saya juga, maksudnya secara bandwidth juga terbatas gitu ya. Jadi saya nggak mungkin baca semua CV gitu. Dan kadang-kadang di CV itu juga ada poin-poin yang nggak perlu, tapi semua dimasukin oleh kandidat gitu. Nah, kalau di LinkedIn nggak seperti itu. Di LinkedIn benar-benar professional experience yang dimasukin. That's why kadang-kadang recruiter lebih milih untuk lihat itu, lebih relevan kadang-kadang. Gitu.
Oke, baik. Mungkin dua pertanyaan terakhir mungkin. Jadi pertama adalah dia sudah bekerja di bidang IT, terus ada niat untuk buka usaha, 7 tahun buka usaha, ternyata gagal, dan dia ingin kembali lagi ke dunia IT. Pas interview ditanya, kamu sudah melakukan apa? Dan dari segi pengalaman jadinya nggak 10 tahun, karena 7 tahun dianggapnya hilang gitu. Itu sebaiknya jawabnya gimana gitu, Mbak?
Nggak apa-apa kalau misalnya memang sebelumnya ada usaha sendiri segala macam, kan selalu ada positive point dari situ. Gitu. Biasanya yang ditanya oleh recruiter adalah kenapa sih kok pengen balik gitu. Kalau misalnya ternyata memang nggak berhasil gitu, jelasin aja kenapa nggak berhasil gitu. Ya of course yang make sense lah ya gitu, nggak berhasil misalnya ternyata susah lah, persaingannya banyak misalnya gitu, persaingannya banyak, kuenya terlalu kecil sehingga mungkin cost-nya jauh lebih besar daripada revenue-nya dan lain sebagainya gitu. Nggak apa-apa juga gitu. It's not something bad gitu. Jadi kalau menurut saya yang begitu-begitu di share aja, nggak apa-apa. Just for your info gitu ya, saya itu sempet 4 tahun nggak kerja, jeda. Nggak 4 tahun lah, 2 tahun setengah nggak kerja gitu ya, karena saya harus ngurus anak waktu itu dan kuliah lagi gitu ya. Jadi saya kuliah lagi sambil waktu itu saya baru melahirkan anak pertama. Jadi saya 2 tahun setengah lah di rumah gitu. Pada saat saya balik kerja, pertanyaannya kayak begitu. Kenapa tiba-tiba pengen balik kerja? Terus selama 2,5 tahun ngapain nih? Dia dianggapnya saya cuman pengangguran gitu-gitu aja gitu. Tapi saya bilang bahwa ini lebih ke apa ya? Lebih ke pilihan saya waktu itu gitu, karena saya punya anak, saya susah dapat anaknya misalnya, terus saya perlu konsentrasi di rumah dan lain sebagainya. Just share whatever reason that you have gitu ya, not too much information, tapi at least mereka tahu bahwa bukan cuma sekedar nganggur nggak dapat kerjaan, atau cuma sekedar apa namanya, atau hal-hal yang lebih negatif gitu. Mungkin ada baiknya di share juga kenapanya gitu. Menurut saya fair enough kok. Kadang-kadang dari situ pertanyaannya bisa berkembang macam-macam, bisa oke, terus waktu punya usaha ini apa sih challenges-nya ngurusin orang misalnya gitu kan, karena punya usaha sendiri biasanya ngurusin orang dong sendiri gitu. Oke, apa sih challenges-nya kalau punya usaha sendiri, terus gimana kalau di compare dengan kerja di office misalnya, kayak gitu-gitulah. Berarti pertanyaannya akan berkembang ke situ.
Oke, cukup jelas. Mungkin pertanyaan terakhir ini pertanyaan paling penting yang kadangkala bingung jawabnya. Kamu minta gaji berapa?
Oke, kalau saya biasanya kalau ditanya kayak gitu, saya akan bilang bahwa oke, kalau dia belum apa-apa udah nanya kayak gitu, biasanya rekruter udah nanya di awal tuh, minta gaji berapa. Saya bilang kalau saya baru first interview, saya akan bilang saya perlu lebih banyak informasi tentang responsibility-nya, scope of work-nya, baru saya akan bisa share ekspektasi saya. Saya nggak bisa share ekspektasi kalau saya nggak tahu dong scope-nya kayak apa, apalagi responsibility-nya sedalam apa. Saya minta segini, ternyata waduh begitu udah terjun kok ya begini amat gitu ya. Jangan sampai begitu juga gitu. Jadi it will be good untuk dig further sebelum share yang berkaitan sama kompensasi gitu. Jadi biasanya rule of time-nya nggak rule of time lah, general rules gitu ya. Biasanya orang kalau mau pindah dari satu company ke company lain gitu ya, setahu saya akan menarik di antara 20-30% increase dari current, di luar benefit lain-lain ya gitu. Tapi itu rasanya itu cukup rasional gitu ya. Kalau orang udah comfortable di satu company gitu ya, di satu role, it's been years, apalagi udah bertahun-tahun gitu ya, terus harus pindah gitu, harus ada insentif dong. Kenapa dia harus pindah ke sana? Gue udah enak kok di sini gitu kan. Dan abis itu harus ada insentifnya mungkin bukan cuma sekedar dari segi benefitnya aja, tapi kompensasinya juga harus signifikan dong gitu. Apalagi saya nggak ada masalah kok di company ini, kan ada kalanya kita bukan yang kita aktif nyari, tapi kita yang dicari gitu. Kalau apa namanya, through the years, kalau teman-teman udah pengalamannya udah lebih banyak, pasti akan banyak dicari. Teman-teman nggak perlu nyari, apalagi punya LinkedIn, pasti akan dicari. Headhunter yang akan approach atau company recruiter yang akan approach gitu. Nah kalau udah begitu, apa namanya, kita yang punya bargaining power dong sebenarnya gitu kan. Wong kita baik-baik aja kok di company ini, nggak ada problem. Tiba-tiba kita disuruh pindah, emang lo bisa nawarin apa gitu kan? Mungkin pekerjaannya lebih challenging, oke, fine. Tapi kan kita nggak cuma based on itu aja ya gitu. Manusiawi lah kalau orang mikirin, oke, kompensasinya berapa besar sih bedanya gitu. Nah itu sih cuma just hints aja gitu ya. Biasanya umumnya yang saya alamin, orang itu akan cenderung mau pindah dengan increment 20 ya, 20-30 lah maksimum gitu ya. Sekitar itu sih.
Oke, Mbak. Sepertinya sudah banyak pertanyaan yang dijawab dan cukup besar antusiasme teman-teman di sini.
Yes.
Mungkin ada sepatah dua patah kata sebagai penutup dari Mbak Sekar.
Oke, mungkin kalau mungkin just a few notes aja gitu ya, bahwa interview kadang it takes few interviews gitu ya untuk teman-teman pada akhirnya bisa dapat pekerjaan tertentu gitu ya. Kadang kita harus apply ke beberapa company sebelum pada akhirnya kita bisa dapat opportunity. Kadang dari teman-teman nyebar 10 CV misalnya, kadang-kadang satu dipanggil aja udah bagus. So kadang jangan jadikan yang kayak gini-gini jadi kecil hati juga gitu ya. Dan makin banyak kita attend interview, walaupun cuma interview sekali, it give us more exposure gitu ya. Kita punya lebih banyak pengalaman untuk kita bisa menghadapi next interview gitu. Jadi apapun yang jadi pertanyaan di interview sebelumnya atau beberapa sesi sebelumnya, I think it will be good, hal yang kamu bisa dipelajarin oleh teman-teman. gitu. Jadi just be patient gitu ya. Kadang-kadang kita nggak dapat satu opportunity tapi ada opportunity yang lain. Itu aja sih Mas Adri.
Baik, terima kasih Mbak Sekar. Teman-teman juga terima kasih atas waktunya. Sesi hari ini telah direkam dan nanti rekamannya akan saya sharing ke email masing-masing. Sekali lagi terima kasih. Bagi yang sudah ada jadwal interview, semoga berhasil di proses interviewnya. Bagi yang belum dipanggil, jangan khawatir. Tadi kata Mbak Sekar, sabar. Karena nanti ada waktunya untuk bisa dipanggil. Dan mungkin akan ketemu dengan perusahaan yang cocok. Sekali lagi terima kasih kepada Mbak Sekar dan sampai ketemu di lain waktu.
Ya, makasih.